Instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe.
Okada goes to beat him up more. Speedball has to save him again.
Yeah. Well, guy got his ass kicked.
I guess they're going to be a tag team.
By Roosh.
But, yeah, you had to get saved
They've
twice.
been friends. They don't need to be a tag team. The point is there are actually some people on the show that have friends.
That's true.
And if I can believe anybody has friends, it's Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight.
Yeah, that's true. Don Callis calls out the Outrunners.
And Mark Briscoe, in fact. And they all happen to be friends.
That's true. Yeah.
Who would have thought friendly people can have friends? It's weird. I have to think about that.
I mean, everyone?
In wrestling, it doesn't usually work like that.
Well, wrestling's been fucked up for quite a while. Callis calls out the Outrunners, challenges them to face RPG Vice and somebody else in a trios match. Find a partner who faces a trios match. We will kick your ass back to Tennessee like it's 1983. And then they'd run down the card for Collision, which is going on right now here in the West Coast. I will only note that Willow versus Chris got by far the biggest crowd reaction. We're very much into that. And next week, of course, Ospreay and Hangman versus Takeshita and Alexander. And Joe versus Moxley inside a steel cage. Alicia attempts to interview the Hurt Syndicate. There's a fourth person there.
She goes, "Hey, Lashley, you said that next week you're going to tell us whether MJF is going to be inducted into the Hurt Business. Why don't you just tell us now?" Like, hey, she asked.
Yeah.
She is shot down on the advice of his legal counsel, Harrison Landau.
MVP identifies this man as our legal counsel, Harrison Landau. When he speaks, we listen.
Oh, by the way, maybe part of the act now.
I guess.
He left with him. He just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Harrison Landau.
Hasn't been with him. The Hurt Syndicate have been a thing for what? Since December?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a personal attorney now. Personal legal counsel, I think we called him. Claudio Castagnoli versus Jon Moxley.
No, it wasn't.
No, versus Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Joe's challenging for the title next week. This is Moxley's, what do they call him, his general, one of his generals. I thought, dude, Joe needs to slaughter this guy, beat the crap out of him, win decisively, and look like the absolute man for next week. They had a back and forth heavyweight slugfest banger.
Hey, at least Claudio didn't take 90% of the match.
It was back and forth.
At least they actually went back and forth.
Yes.
And to be fair, I mean, Claudio is very, very strongly pushed.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't mind a more 50-50 match here. And he did choke him out clean in the middle, and Claudio tapped instantly.
That is true, but it was the way they set it up was it's not like he hit 5 moves and says, "I'm going to do my finish now," and then choked him out. Claudio's going for the swing, the giant swing, and Joe from his back spins Claudio around, pulls him down into the choke and wins. It felt like he eked out a narrow win. It did not feel like a dominant, decisive triumph.
I looked at it differently. I looked at it like we already know that Joe has choked out Moxley, and now we have seen that at any point during the match, even if Moxley is going for his finish, if Joe counters into that choke, Moxley is fucked. That's the story they were trying to tell. Perhaps the announcers did not do a good enough job telling this story, but Claudio was, he cut him off during the comeback and went for the swing, and that's when Joe countered into a choke and immediately tapped him. So the story is, if Joe gets that choke on, it's all over. And I guarantee that at some point in that cage match, he's going to get that choke on, and that place is going to go fucking wild. And then 85 guys are going to run in, and we're going to have a schmoz. But still, I think that I thought the match was fine. It was basic. I wrote it was good enough.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Good enough. So Death Riders come out, the rest of them, but Hobbs runs out with a chair to even the odds, and
everybody thought he was going to turn.
Well, it's not even that, kind of that. Partly that. Because he's got a chair, and Joe's right there, and they've only been a team for one match, right? So Claudio slowly gets to his feet, and Hobbs turns and smashes Claudio with the chair. The camera practically missed it. They caught the second one at least, but I thought, man, Hobbs is getting more over than Joe here. Thankfully, Joe was the one. They set up the chair, and Joe dropped Claudio across it like they did to Hook and Shibata to take him out, so they're getting revenge there. So at least Joe got the last shot in to finish Claudio off. But yeah, I thought they did more to get Hobbs over in this segment than they did get Joe. That was strange. Unless that's one of the turns they do next week.
Well, we got to get all these guys into that match.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very good show overall.
Yeah.
And they got Beach Break coming up next week. God, I gotta watch Collision tonight. I was supposed to be watching
Impact?
Impact.
Yeah.
I'll figure this out. Right when I finally get it all figured out, this happens.
It was strange watching clips from those two shows at the same time online. I don't know if they were head-to-head in real life. I guess, Impact was taped, but yeah, they were, it was weird.
If you love this show, you should consider signing up at WrestlingObserver.com. WrestlingObserver.com has every show that we have ever done. Over 15,000 podcasts in the archives, dating back to 2005. Searchable by show, searchable by year. Perhaps the first show you ever watched was 2008 WrestleMania? Well, you can head into the archives and you can find the podcast we did, all built around the 2008 WrestleMania. Every major show, whether it be WWE, AEW, we covered it all. 15,000 archived shows at WrestlingObserver.com. Also, when you subscribe, you get full access to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's a new Observer every Friday. And on top of that, we have thousands and thousands of archived issues of the Observer dating back to 1991. So again, WrestleMania 2008, go to the archives, search WrestleMania 2008, read all of the issues surrounding that show. Of course, Wrestling Observer newsletter, 40,000 words of news and information on pro wrestling and mixed martial arts every single week. New issue comes out every Friday. New back issue comes out every Monday. You also get the discussion board. One of the best discussion boards on the internet. It's members only. If you're going to troll, well, you got to pay to troll, and there aren't too many of those. And if you cause too much trouble, you're out of there. So if you want a great place to discuss professional wrestling, it is the board. Also available as a subscriber at WrestlingObserver.com. The whole package, all of the new shows, all of the archived shows, all of the new issues of the Observer, all of the archived editions of the newsletter, all of the past episodes of Wrestling Observer Radio, Wrestling Observer Live, The Bryan and Vinny Show, Figure 4 Daily, Filthy 4 Daily, The Board, all of it, just $14.99 per month. The full shebang. And you can save a lot of money getting an annual subscription. A full year, you basically get 2 months free. So check it out, WrestlingObserver.com, everything you'll ever need as a fan of professional wrestling. Check it out today, F4WOnline.com.